What's up, y'all? Happy Warm-Up Wednesday. Welcome back. Hopefully you've been enjoying the warm-up exercises and mobility and stability exercises that Ash and I are bringing you each week. You can expect to see more progressions every Wednesday throughout the month, this month focusing on our ankle health. So today I'm actually just going to give you 3 progressions of the stuff she gave you last week. So we're just going to kind of work the same stretches in a different way, a different variation, progressing on your mobility and stability. So let's get going. All right, y'all. So exercise number 1, Ash showed you how to test your ankle mobility with the wall test and then how to stretch it in the same position. So remember, if you're doing that stretch, you want to come back, make sure that your whole foot is planted on the ground and that heel doesn't lift, but you're using your body weight to send that knee forward and put pressure on the back of that calf, the back of that soleus muscle that runs right about here, and then hold and stretch. Only go as far as you can to where you don't feel any pain here, but you're getting a nice stretch on the back of that calf. Now, if you're having trouble with this, there's a couple different things that you can do. One, you can elevate your foot. So you could stack some books if you have them, put your foot on top of those books and elevate a little bit so you get a little bit more range. Then come into that stretch. Again, remember, putting as much pressure as is comfortable without pain and keeping your heel planted on the ground and hold. You also can come higher if you're still having trouble, like I do with this ankle, because this is the ankle that I shredded up. So you can elevate your foot up onto a bench. Same thing, send it as far forward as you can, feeling a nice stretch in that back, and then hold that position. Then, a way you can progress these moves, whether you're on the ground or you're elevated on a bench, is add some rotation of the knee. So we want to make sure we're getting enough pressure to where we feel that stretch, but we're not really ripping it and sending it forward. Again, we don't want to feel anything through here. But once you find your stretch, whether you're on the floor or the bench, hold that stretch, then you can actually begin to get some light rotation of the knee. Notice my foot stays where it is, and I'm keeping that pressure of my chest and my body weight into the back of my calf. But then I'm just gonna add some slight rotation of the knee in and out, gently and softly, to make sure we're hitting all angles of those muscles. So remember, you wanna do this safely, just enough pressure to feel a stretch, but not enough to where there should be any pain. Second progression and move of the day is going to be something called your ankle cars, or controlled articular rotations. This is going to be a progression of the ankle ABCs that Ash showed you last week. So your setup is going to be the same. You're going to sit down. You want to think, if you're doing your left side, because this is my better ankle, so we're going to use it as an example. If you're doing your left ankle, you want to make sure you're in a nice seated position, lift your leg off the ground, and then I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to arm bar underneath. So I'm going to make sure I'm holding it nice and tight, and then to make sure that my body doesn't compensate and the movement isn't coming from my knee, we want to isolate that ankle joint by taking my top arm and I'm going to hold it down as well. Okay, then the next thing, last week it was drawing the ABCs. Today, I want you to try and isolate your ankle joint and hit the end range, creating circles. All right, so you're arm barring your leg, you're locked in your knee. I like to use my other hand on my arm as well. From there, you're gonna think about creating as much tension through your body as you can. So really brace up, try and make the air about 10% thicker than it actually is. Then I'm gonna have you take your ankle, you're gonna pull your toes back towards your shin, and then I'm gonna go around as far as I can, again, not letting the movement come from my knee. I'm gonna draw a circle, come all the way around, and then come back to center. And I'm gonna keep that motion going, trying to isolate the ankle, pull all the way around, pull all the way in, and I'm gonna go for 30 seconds one direction, and then I'm gonna switch direction 30 seconds the other way. The idea, again, is to isolate this ankle joint, squeeze out as much rotation as you possibly can. If you have pain in your closing angle, which means the closed side of whatever you're doing, just skip over that. We don't want to go into a pain in the closing angle. But if you feel like snap, crackle, pops, or a little bit of limitations on the outside, you're totally fine. But just make sure you have no closing ankle pain. If you do, you want to just bypass that spot and come right back in for the rest of the joint. All right, team, so last move of the day. Last week, Ash showed you your single leg balanced with your eyes open and your eyes closed, which is pretty challenging. And today I'm gonna give you a progression of that. So once you get comfortable in that single leg balance, practicing eyes open, eyes closed, this one you wanna keep your eyes open for, but it's called a single leg balance reach. So you're standing on one leg, and then you're gonna hinge forward, reach, and then pull it back in. When you do this exercise, you want to make sure that your whole foot is planted on the ground. You want to grip the ground with your toes and keep your heel stabilized on the ground. Then you also want to make sure that whatever leg you're standing on has a little bit of slack in that knee. From there, you're going to hinge at the hip. So I'm going to think about sending my hips back behind me as I extend my foot back and up. And then I'm gonna lean forward and reach those arms as far as I can. Still keeping a slight bend in the knee. You don't want it to be locked out to put pressure on that nerve. And then push the ground away and come forward. So when people see this exercise, they think a lot of times it's just like lean over. But if you just lean over with your chest, that weight is gonna tip forward and you're gonna lose your balance. So I want you to think more about pushing your butt back behind you, which is then gonna send your chest forward. So again, stabilizing leg, you've got a slight bend in that knee, then keep your core tight. You wanna pull your belly button to spine, knee is up, then I'm gonna push my hips back as I extend my heel and raise my leg, then extend those arms as much as is comfortable. Remember to keep a tight core, slight bend in that knee, and then I'm gonna drive the ground away as I come to standing and try and find balance. You can find a wall. I like to do these against the wall and reach as far as I can towards the wall, remembering to keep the heel high, and then come back and find. All right, team, that's all I have for you today. So remember, 3 times a week is the goal. Consistency is the key. If you want to see progress in anything, you got to be consistent. So at least 3 times a week, commit to these stretches, commit to these progressions. You can always do it more if you so want to. Make sure you share it with others to keep their joints healthy and keep them mobile. And it might help you stay accountable yourself if you have a buddy to do it with. So happy stretching, happy mobilizing, happy skating. Y'all stay safe out there, and we will see you next Wednesday.